Hi, I'm Margie Nichols. I'm a sex therapist and psychologist. I'm the executive director of IPG Counseling, the Institute for Personal Growth. We work with parents of gender fluid, gender nonconforming, and transgender kids, and we work with the kids themselves. This is the second of a two-part video on gender fluid, gender nonconforming, and transgender kids. In the first video, Courtney Zender and I, Courtney is our social media person and works with LGBTQ kids in her day job. Courtney and I explained to you a little bit about, we gave you some definitions, and we explained to you what's going on with gender variant children and why there appear to be so much more of them now than there were in the past. So in this video, what we want to do is, this is really directly for anybody, a parent, a family member, someone who is working with a gender variant child. What do you do? We'll talk to you as parents. What do you do if your child is gender variant? So the first thing is, please understand, your kid can't help being who he or she is. This is not something that your child can turn off at will. This is so deeply part of the core of who they are that it's like asking a child to change their eyes from blue to brown. It's not really a choice, and it's not your fault. It has nothing to do with anything that you did. So if all you do is punish your child or disapprove of your child, all that's going to happen is it's going to make the issue go underground, and it's going to make them really feel ashamed of themselves and unloved. And I know that as parents, that's the last thing you want, is for your child to feel unloved. The very first thing that kid needs is unconditional love and support for who he or she is. We know from research that gender nonconforming kids who get the love of their parents, especially in their family, are shielded from some of the bullying effects of the outside world. So it's extremely important that your child knows that he or she is special, unique, loved just for the way they are. Part of the problem, and this takes us to our second point, part of the problem is it's hard for any parent to deal with having a gender variant child, especially a gender variant little boy. There's something in our culture that makes us just, tomboys are cute, even admirable, but little boys who appear to be feminine, quote unquote, we have a tough time with that. And often the most liberal person is going to have a gut reaction to a boy in a tutu. So be honest with yourself. First off, you're going to freak out about this. You're going to feel bad about this. If you think that what your child is doing is wrong, ask yourself why. We think that you'll figure out that it's really a gut reaction that you're having because you've been taught this, and you've learned it and you can unlearn it. And it's really important that you do this. Go to a support group. Go to PFLAG. PFLAG now has chapters. It has chapters all over the world, and it now really has a lot of support for the parents of gender variant and transgender children. Excuse me. Okay, so, and even if you're okay with it yourself, as a parent, you're going to be afraid for your child, and you could use the support of other parents too, because it can be very scary. So your child needs to feel good about who they are, even if it makes them different. They really need the freedom to be themselves. Now this is where it's hard, particularly for boys, because you may be perfectly fine with your little boy having a Barbie collection and wearing dresses and wanting to get their nails painted. But others in the world may not be. And so you're going to have to go above and beyond just loving your child and forming a protective environment for your child. You're going to have to educate other people, friends, neighbors, the school. You're going to have to advocate for your child. If your school system won't accommodate a gender variant child and do everything it can to protect the child, you're going to have to fight them, and there are resources with which you can fight them. However, there are going to be some situations where it's impossible, where you're in a community where you're just not going to get the support you need, and not everybody can afford to move to a liberal, diverse community. So in that situation, you may have no choice but to limit when and where your child can can give gender expression to what they're feeling inside. You might have to make a rule that your son can only wear dresses in the house, or at family affairs, or with trusted friends. Just if you have to do that, try to make sure that your child knows that it's not because what they're doing is wrong, it's because people are ignorant. I mean, and I tell kids that in therapy, I say that right out. You know what? A lot of people are ignorant, and a lot of people aren't going to understand this. Nothing wrong with you, but we've got to protect you. And the other thing you can do for your child is try to expose him or her to other kids who are living in that middle realm. It's easier for girls because until they hit puberty anyway, because it's permissible to be a tomboy. 50% of women say that they were tomboys when they were children. So it's very widespread. Much harder to do with a gender variant little boy, but you can find an art or a dance or a theater club or activity for this child to be in, where they may meet other kids like them. If you're near a city, you can undoubtedly find support groups both for the children and for parents, in most cities anyway. If your child is really unhappy and depressed, shows signs that they might hurt themselves, go to a professional right away. It's tough for a child to be gender variant in this society, and if it causes depression or some kind of emotional imbalance, or the kid's at risk, by all means go to a professional, but make sure you know who you're going to. Interview the professional, make sure that they see gender variance itself as normal and not a mental illness. If you're in New Jersey, you can get help from one of us at IPG. Otherwise, go to our website, ipgcounseling.com. We have wonderful resources there that can put you in the right direction. So, I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope that you've learned a little bit from this, and thanks for watching.